Hello, my name is Matthew Mejia. I am a sophomore in Mr. Lopiccolo's Theology 2 class. We are currently doing a project which investigates different aspects of the Strake Jesuit campus which could be reformed. I chose community service because it is common amongst all Strake Jesuit students and is important in our formation. However, the process of submitting service hour forms can be made more efficient. The objective of my research is to use numerical data to gain a better understanding of community service at Strake Jesuit and discussion to find the best solutions. A little bit of an overview for the data. As of April 19th, we received 14 responses on our survey. We were able to reach parents, teachers, alumni, and students. And the grade levels we reached were freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. The first question assesses the importance of community service to the Strake Jesuit community. With an average of 4.1, most respondents believe that the current community service program is somewhat significant or very significant in the development of students as men for others. The second question examines how we think others feel about the importance of service. It has an average of about 2.4. So interestingly, respondents think that students around them are indifferent to the impact of Strake Jesuit's community service program on their formation as men for others. The apathy respondents saw was not necessarily conducive of how fellow respondents felt about community service. Strake Jesuit mostly values the impact of community service on the formation of students as men for others. The third question evaluates how difficult it is for members of the Strake Jesuit community, whether it be teachers or students, to manage service hours. With an average of 3.4, most respondents think that processing community service forms is neutral or quite difficult. The fourth question investigates how difficult students think it is for service coordinators to process and organize forms. With an average of about 3.7, most students think that it is quite difficult or very difficult for service coordinators to accept, process, and organize service forms. Similarly to question number 4, question number 5 examines how difficult parents and teachers think it is for students to organize and turn in service forms. With an average of about 4.3, parents and teachers mostly thought that it was quite difficult for students to organize and turn in service forms. Looking back at the data, we understand that members of the Strake Jesuit community believe that service is important in forming students as men for others, and that for students and coordinators, completing and processing the paperwork is difficult. Making this research as objective as possible, two sides of the argument arose: those who were proponents of community service and those who were opponents of it. Typically, proponents want to unify requirements of all service organizations into one set of guidelines, have service organizations use the same service hour submission form, abandon the paper form of service hour submission, leverage MySJ as a single, simple place to turn in and view hours completed, as this would be the place to turn in hours for grade level requirements, NHS, and Key Club. Some suggested, however, that the requirement should be removed altogether. But I think that Mr. Brunel best responds to this idea. He says, the requirement should be set in order to get someone out of themselves and expose oneself to the margins where you usually don't find yourself. The poor, the elderly, the destitute, the needy. This is the purpose of service hours. As this is something I firmly believe in, I intend to continue researching community service at Strake Jesuit. I value people's responses to the survey and will attach a link. You can be part of reform on Strake Jesuit's campus.